Skimcoat Ceilings Drywall Walls. Best drywall tools for skimming. Skimcoat ceilings and walls are a great way to keep your home dry and energy efficient. Drywall is a popular wall construction material because it is easy to install and provides a strong, durable wall. However, drywall walls can also be a source of moisture and condensation. Skimcoat ceilings and walls are a great way to keep your home dry and energy efficient. Drywall is a popular wall construction material because it is easy to install and provides a strong, durable wall. However, drywall walls can also be a source of moisture and condensation. If you're looking for the best drywall tools for skimming, you've come to the right place. In this blog post, we'll go over the top drywall tools that are essential for any skimming job. The tool you'll need is a good quality drywall skimming blade. This is what you'll use to apply the joint compound to the wall. It's important to get a putty knife that is comfortable to hold and that has a nice, sharp blade. Skim coating is amongst the most attractive approaches of deterring the ugly texture of your painted walls. More so, it helps carry to existence partitions that have been broken by means of the elimination of wallpapers. Applying it entails spreading a joint compound in a wall to cowl and fill the seen deformities. After it holds up to the surface, you can paint or enhance the wall as normal. Despite skimcoat being a splendid treatment for unpainted drywalls, the query is, can you skimcoat over paint? Yes, it's feasible to skimcoat over surfaces that have already been painted. However, you want to look at the floor earlier than skimcoating the paint. If the floor has cracks or damages, it's higher to keep away from skimcoating over the paint. If the paint on the floor is in right circumstance, you can do your skimcoating. Priming surfaces prepares it for better adhesion and smooth finishes. That is why it's necessary to apply light coats of this formula before adding a coat of anything on it. So that, should you prime before skimcoating, it's of paramount importance to prime before skimcoating. Usually, a skimcoat is naturally porous, which tells you it can soak up plenty of paint during application. So as an alternative to prevent utilizing too much paint, it's wise to always prime the surface before spreading a skimcoat. Ensure the primer dries completely before applying the skimcoat. Put joint compound over paint. Use a joint drywall compound to fix nearly all deformities in drywalls. This material is an affordable plaster product, but it needs thorough preparation to work as intended. Before putting in a joint compound, ensure your walls are free from dirt. You can achieve this by wiping down the walls with a damp sponge. Also, you will need to use a broom to bring down any cobwebs in the corners of the room. After you're certain that the walls are dry, begin to lightly sand the walls to establish a surface that the plaster can attach to. This step is overly integral primarily if the current paint on the walls has a smooth sheen. Please use a sanding pole and attached medium grit sandpaper to sand down the walls. Once you are through, take a clean sponge and wipe the walls down to get rid of the sanding dust. Suppose you decide to use a trowel, swipe on plaster to the trowel, then clasp the trowel's edge to the wall. Next, use a small roller to roll on the joint compound. It's better to use a small roller because a large one will be heavier when you attach the joint compound. Create your texture by spreading the plaster to the wall. But ensure that your texture has a uniform appearance on the entire wall. Can you skimcoat over painted plaster? Plaster walls often develop a configuration of cracks that are overly narrow to be filled with plaster. Still, you can't cover the cracks with paint due to their nominal size. What's the best way of restoring a painted plaster? I would recommend using a skimcoat over painted plaster. Skimcoating a painted plaster makes it look more appealing. The job is relatively tiresome, but it will rescue your painted plaster. However, this product might not work if the existing paint and plaster look loose and unsound. Can you skim plaster over painted Artex? Skim plastering over Artex is very much possible, but it largely entails proper preparation. Ideally, any Artex should have a bonding coat applied first because the skim coat is merely 3 mm thick. After the bonding coat dries, take 2 coats of PVA and apply it to minimize suction while skimming the top coat. This will deliver you the preferred flat finish. How long after skim coat can I paint? Painting a newly installed skim coat is essential to transitioning both the walls and ceilings in any home. However, there are plenty of conflicting beliefs on how long the skim coat should dry before painting. From experience, I would recommend roughly 3.5 to 5.5 days before painting over a newly applied skim coat. Sometimes this duration might surpass even a week depending on a myriad of aspects like central heating, time of the year, and the layers applied. Before painting over a skim coat, ensure that the surface is free from dark patches. More so, you should make certain that there is a uniform light color on the surface before painting. Keeping the room well ventilated will lessen the drying time. If you want to achieve the best outcome, wait until the dry time is due before painting. You don't have to replace the entire drywall, whereas you can skim coat it and attain the same objective. Skim coating drywall serves to smoothen the ravaged surface to improve its overall look. That is often applied in multiple layers to offer a smooth surface on the entire drywall. Or you can apply only a single layer to touch up a restricted area. What is the difference between skimming and plastering? Skimming and plastering are two different types of wall repair. The first one is a quick and easy way to fix small holes and cracks in the wall. The second one is a more extensive process. Skimming is the process of filling holes and cracks in the wall with a mixture of fast-drying joint compound and sand. When you think of a plaster cast, you probably think of someone's broken leg being immobilized with plaster. But plastering is actually a much broader term that can be used to describe a number of different casting processes. The first step in every plaster cast is known as skimming. Skimming is the process of removing the top layer of fresh plaster in order to expose fresh plaster underneath. Skimming is the time period used to describe a plastering approach whereby a wall is plastered with a skinny coat. It is regularly utilized to present plaster to easy out the surface. If you are accustomed to the use of this product, hiring an expert is higher than messing with the pricey job. As hostile to frequent belief, plastering and skimming are now not definitely separate terms. So far, it's right to allege that skimming is a subset of plastering. The predominant variant is that skimming is particularly completed to improve historic walls, whereas plastering is finished on newly mounted walls. Not to forget, the different dissimilarity is that plaster surfaces are naturally rough, not like skimmed surfaces which are overly smooth. Despite the differences, each of these methods are used to enlarge the sturdiness of partitions and enhance buildings. How do you prepare a wall for skim coating? The cracks and holes on your walls are hard to cover up with only paint. So, for this reason, you need an ultimate makeover for your walls that will bid goodbye to lumps and bumps. You can only enjoy this convenience by skim coating your walls. And as an alternative, it will welcome even and smooth surfaces. However, you don't just rush into the job. You first need to take pleasure in what you are doing and be prepared with the essential supplies at hand. Check out the guidelines highlighted in this guide to find out how you can prepare your wall for skim coating. Step 1. Considering that skimming is a time-sensitive job, you need to equip yourself fully before commencing. The list below displays some essential supplies needed before you kick off. Paint roller, skimmer plate, trowel taping knife, a ladder to access high areas, safety glasses, drywall knife but it's optional, large bucket, quickset joint, ready mixed joint compound, plastic sheeting, water-based primer, drill. Step 2. The next thing is to prepare the room. As usual, dust is elicited when fixing up walls. So, it would be best if you save your floor from dirt by withdrawing all your valuables. Or, you can cover the furniture that can't move with plastic sheeting. Also, it's good to cover doorways to prevent plaster dust from invading the neighboring rooms. Step 3. Before you begin skimming, you should ensure that the walls are relatively clean and free from cracks. This way, you will attain a smooth finish with the fewest coats possible. You will need to begin by scraping off any loose material and follow with filling the cracks using a rated ready mixed joint compound. I would suggest you use a small drywall knife as it serves to minimize the number of marks and wiping lines you make. After you repair the ravaged walls, dust and wipe them down to peel off the grime which might affect sticking. It's a general rule to ensure that walls dry to touch before jumping on to the next step. Step 4. At this juncture your walls are fully prepared and it's now the right time to prime. You will need to use a water-based primer for best results. Take your roller and spread a coat of primer over the entire surface you intend to skim the coat. The essence of the primer is to enhance better adhesion of your joint compound. Then, as usual, give the surface enough time to dry before putting in anything else. Step 5. The next thing is to mix your plaster. Suppose you are working with a quickset joint compound. Mix it with water before using it. You can as well check on the instructions to certify the time limit before it gets hard. Take the large bucket and mix your compound inside using a drill to make the process straightforward. In the process, the compound should develop a mud-type consistency. Remember, you need to be quick enough so that the mixture won't stiffen. Step 6. It is now the right time to spread the first skim coat. Take your mixed compound and disseminate it to a skimmer plate. As you begin the first coat, ensure one hand holds the skimmer plate whereas the other continues to spread the mixture. It's a good idea to pile a small amount of plaster on your trowel as you gradually add more later. Then drag it slowly over the wall with even pressure. Step 7. After the first coat you don't have to wait for it to dry before proceeding. Go on dragging your trowel with a second one for a smooth finish. If there are still visible grooves after the second coat dries, add a third coat and remember to drag the trowel vertically. Step 8. After applying the third coat, let the surface dry for 1 day. Then take sandpaper and begin to sand away the visible imperfections. You will want to smooth out the rough edges or grooves using 180 to 220 grit sandpaper. The moment your walls start to exhibit signs of cracks, it is the right time to skim over them. However, ensure that you bring down any loose material first before skimming. Otherwise, installing a skim coat won't be a worthwhile option. Skim coating a wall is by no means a strenuous task and you can do it yourself rather than hiring an intellectual to do it. The process differs from painting walls, but you have to use similar tools such as a paint roller. With a bit of time, understanding, and precise work, you can easily tackle this job. Remember, the trick here is to learn how to do it, and with time, you will start to skim coat to a professional standard. We all know that hanging drywall on a basement ceiling is a difficult job, which it is difficult because with most basements, the ceiling is lower than in upper floors. Not to mention the most challenging part, holding the sheets of drywall above your head and making sure it aligns properly while setting your screws. You should probably enlist the help of a friend for this particular job or rent a drywall jack. In addition, the difficulty of this job is having to purchase many items in order to have a successful finish. It is certainly not an impossible task though. Hanging drywall on a basement ceiling is a weekend project that looks great and gives any room instant character. All you need are a few basic tools and a sheet of paper which you can print off from home. This guide will show you how to hang drywall on a basement ceiling with ease. First thing you will need to do is figure out how much drywall you need to cover your entire basement ceiling. Measuring tape is your best friend during this drywall installation. Measure each side of the room and then calculate the ceiling. Then, you will know how many sheets to use to fill the space. If you are a visual learner, you can create a drawing of the ceiling's area and notice the measurements through that. You'll have to cut each sheet and figure out where it can go. In addition, use a pencil to place the marks on the ceiling so that you don't get confused. Also, you can use marks to know where the ceiling joists cross. They should align with the center of the joists. Hanging drywall is a great DIY project for the basement. And precision is vital. Finally, when you are at the stage to setting the screws, the marks will be the perfect guide. If you've ever hung drywall by yourself, you know how difficult it can be to get a straight and even line when you're using a level to guide the tape. Instead of trying to find the perfect level surface, use a sheet of paper to guide your hanging line. Print out a sheet of paper and draw a row of marks along the top of the basement ceiling. Hold the paper up to the ceiling where you want to begin hanging drywall and make a mark with a pencil or pen at the intersection of the paper and the ceiling. These marks will serve as a guide for where to drill holes for the drywall screws. You can make your marks directly on the ceiling, or you can use a board as a template and trace it onto the ceiling with a pen. Either way, make sure the marks are large enough to show where the screws go. Prepare your first sheet of drywall to hang. It is recommended to start in the corner first, the place where you can see the drywall. Mark and measure where you'll be making any cuts. This way you can accommodate a fixture when a sheet needs to be sized down or fit into a smaller space. If you don't need to cut anything, put the sheet over your head and position it against the wall. As mentioned previously, this is a difficult job to do alone, and if you have a friend helping you, they can be very handy. Next, use a power drill fitted with the drywall bit. Set about 3 or 4 drywall screws into the joists. Use your marks as a guide. When that is in place, the sheet is secured. Now you'll need to set the screws into each joist every 16 inches or 17 inches. Once that is complete, you will have to complete those steps for every sheet. Cut the drywall sheets properly before cutting the sheets. You should absolutely make sure that you measured and marked all the lines properly. Use your utility knife to cut through a layer of paper and gypsum core, but do not cut through the entire drywall. Fold the smaller section to break it away from the bigger piece. On the opposite side, run the knife over the seam in the paper which is created when the drywall is folded over. Now you can cut the paper cleanly. Making cuts for fixtures is also important. Take the measurements for its position and mark the full shape of the cut using a drywall saw. Follow your lines, and once the cut is complete, remove the section and hang the sheet. Last stage is a basement drywall installation. As with any job in the world, it is key to finish in a successful manner. This is the stage where you'll be needing your all-purpose compound, mud, and using the drywall pan to fill it in. Begin with your 6 inches knife and working with one joint or seam at a time. With that, fill it with an even layer of mud. Now you'll need to cover the entire seam with tape and pass over it again to keep the tape in place. Squeeze out all the excess mud. When that's complete, with your 8-inch knife, cover each taped-up seam with a layer of mud. Smooth it all out. When the mud is dry, pass each seam for a second time with the 10 inches knife to cover the swath. Finally, cover each screw head by smearing a bigger amount of mud than needed. Scrape the excess mud with your drywall knife and smooth it over in the process. Joint compound is just drywall mud used to seal joints and fill gaps. Adding joint compound for skim coating is an excellent way to spruce up an old wall without requiring too much work. Whether your goal is to spruce up an old wall or cover some drywall nail holes, you'll need the best joint compound for skim coating. Good drywall joint compound for skim coating is easy to use, sand, and provides a nice finish on an old wall. This drywall mud is used in combination with joint tape to fill gaps and joint surfaces. It is not very demanding, but it will provide you with the finishing touch on your home's interior walls that will make any older room look like new. Good joint drywall is easy to apply, dries quickly, sands quickly, and minimizes shrinkage. Whether you hire professionals or do it yourself, the walls look great. By using good joint compound for skim coating, the drywall mud can seal joint surfaces quickly with minimal shrinking, and it sands easily. And good joint compound also has minimal odor and can be used to skim coating at any time of year. Highlighted features: high-quality product that is cost-efficient, easy to use, and provides a nice finish. A good joint compound that is light enough for a novice drywall mud installer or the carpenter but still provides good coverage and durability is what you're looking for. You want to find one that is easy to apply, spreads evenly, and dries quickly. The best joint compound for skim coating isn't just lightweight but also water-resistant. If you have an irregular surface, it's best to find drywall mud that will eliminate all seams. This will give your wall the most seamless look possible. A drywall mud that has a texture will allow you to hide imperfections and create a smooth surface. You want to choose one that is thick enough not to drip, thin enough to spread, and porous enough to dry quickly. The time for drying is also important. If the drywall mud dries too slowly, you may need to add a second coat in order to cover any missed spots. If your goal is to make a thick and sturdy wall, look for drywall mud that will thicken up quickly. If you need something that dries faster, find one without too much gravel or sand in it. A mud that is lightweight is important for amateur drywall mud workers. If you're just finishing up your first DIY project, it would be wise to stay away from the heavy-duty drywall mud that is often used by professionals. You can't afford to use too much of this type of drywall mud. Heavy-duty products are best for expert drywall mud installers and carpenters. It is easy to make mistakes when applying drywall mud, especially if you're doing your first project or your previous one was unsuccessful. The extra weight can cause problems like dripping, smearing, and not enough coverage. You want to avoid buying products with sand in them because they come off too heavy on the wall surface. They also take a lot more time to dry and the surface may be too rough. The first thing you want to look at is how much coverage you'll need for the area and the type of drywall mud and skim coating. The best joining compounds offer a high coverage rate. This product should also be able to cover an irregular surface. The best ones will be able to handle shrinkage rates that are small or non-existent to create a smooth surface and seamless finish. An expert drywall mud installer or carpenter may use something heavier than what's recommended for beginners, but if you're just starting out, avoid anything that has sand in it or extra weight to prevent problems like dripping and smearing after application. Before skim coat walls, it's important to ensure that the surface is completely free of lumps and scratches. This can be done by using a drywall screen with a smooth mesh surface or by using a drywall hammer to visually identify any pesky lumps in the drywall mud. It's unsafe to cream the coat without cleaning the surface first because it will lead to unsightly porous areas in the wall when finished. This is also mean that you can't scrape away old jointing compounds, which may work for some people but not for most. Instead, use joint compound over the old drywall joint compound in small amounts until all of it has been removed. It is important to apply a compound coat on drywall because it ensures that joints and corners will screw together properly. It also adds a nice finishing touch to your project, leading to a smoother appearance. Sometimes people might also need to use the best joint compound for skim coating when they are working on exterior surfaces that will eventually be painted. Skim coating should always be done after any plastering work but before paint or wallpaper has been applied. This helps ensure that what you apply will adhere properly and also makes sure that water won't end up ruining your hard work to prepare the surface for painting by soaking into it. If you want to skim coat a wall surface that's been painted and it's not necessary, make sure you know whether or not the paint can withstand moisture. If it can't do it well enough, then use a drywall compound in order to create a flawless surface before applying your paint or wallpaper. The proper method for skim coating a wall or ceiling before it is painted is to use a drywall screen with a smooth mesh surface or drywall hammer to visually identify any pesky lumps in the drywall compound. It's important not to skip the step because skipping the step will lead to unsightly porous areas in the wall when finished. It should always be done after plastering but before paint application. Use small amounts of drywall joint compound for skim coating until all the old joint compound has been removed. Then apply vertical drywall dagger strokes, which should be mechanically applied so that there are no visible lines remaining on the surface afterward. Another method you can try if you don't have a drywall screen is to use an open weave drywall cloth. It's important that the fabric mesh does not have any voids, lumps, or openings if you want to get a nice flawless surface when finished. So, when looking for the best joint compound for skim coating, look for something that has excellent coverage, capacity, chemistry composition, ideally water-based, dries quickly, is easy to apply and remove while being low maintenance overall. If you stick with these kinds of qualities during your search process, you'll end up with a good product that gets the job done right every time. What time is the skim coating handy or necessary? If you're trying to smooth existing drywall, cover wallpaper texture, or are repairing drywall, skim coating is your best bet. In our case, the existing drywall in office wasn't in great shape and had both texture wallpaper removal lines as well as a 2 inches wide stripe around the room from removing the chair railing. Half of the sheetrock in the room is new and the other half is existing, so my goal was to skim coat everything to match, resulting in a level 5 finish. Let's chat about the finishing levels, which also kind of translates to the phases if you're going for that smooth look. There are 5 level 0, this means there is no finishing that has been completed. At this level, the sheetrock is just hanging on the wall or ceiling with nothing done to it. Screws and joints exposed. Level 1. Level 1 means that the joint tape has been installed and mudded but nothing else has been completed. Level 2. This level means that you have skim coated a thin layer of joint compound over the tape and cover the drywall screws. If you're planning to tile, it's fine to stop at this level. Many tract homes receive this level in the garage. Level 3. This stage indicates a solid coat of joint compound has been installed to the tape and screws. Walls that will receive a heavy texture, like knockdown, often stop at this level. Level 3 finishing is meant for a highly textured wall outcome. Level 4. This is your classic drywall finish, the standard or norm. Level 4 receives an additional coat of joint compound to cover the tape, seams, screws, and has been sanded in between. This is the most common finish and can be painted or wallpapered nicely. Level 5, as you might have guessed, Level 5 is the gold standard. It's as smooth as you can get, or the highest finish possible. There are no bumps, no texture, and it's achieved by multiple skim coat layers that are finished with a good sanding. Best drywall tools for skimming. Ready to walk through the skim coating process. Before we get started, the longer the skim coating blade, the flatter your finish will be. For scale, here I am with K-brand skim coating blade, drywall skimming blade spat smoothing tool ideal for painting and walls tools. Grab your skim coating blade and with firm, even pressure, sweep it across the roller texture. The goal is to remove as much excess joint compound as you can. Think of this as smoothing rather than building up a material. Work in sections and think thin layers. Hold the blade at a sharp angle and work quickly as the mud dries out quickly. The goal is to work in long even sweeps with the blade without lifting it from the wall. Many walls will require multiple coats. If this is the case, I try to pull my blade one direction, think up and down, for one coat, and then on the second coat I change directions, side to side. Whichever the direction, just make sure it's a consistent, fluid motion. The ergonomic design is comfortable even with extended use and significantly reduces the wrist strain that is common when using other brand drywall skimming spatula. Once you have one section of the wall finished, move on to the next, repeating that same process. You will want to clean your blade in between sections as the joint compound dries quickly and a clean blade works best for that ultra-smooth finish. If you're looking for a level 5 finish and are using a contractor, it is absolutely something you will need to discuss with them in advance, as it's a premium finish and not the standard, maybe which it is level 4. It really doesn't use a whole lot more material, however it is very labor intensive. The texture of the wallpaper as well as the seams were visible, but it wasn't in too bad a shape. Skim coating works on textured popcorn ceilings or any walls that had years of patches and damage to them. The review of K-brand drywall skimming blade from the United States. Seriously, this thing is a game changer. The amount of blade on the wall is 10 maybe 15 times more contact than standard mud knives. Don't get me wrong, you still need mud knives for tapping or just to get the mud on the wall. But look out, get out of my way because I can come in behind you and move it where it needs to go faster than you can put it on. A new accessory is being launched by G.SB to provide an ergonomically and easy way to smooth plastered surfaces before sanding the final finish with the G.SB Liros. I am a strategic partner of G.SB. K-brand plastering spatula is made in China and features a high-quality 0.3mm stainless steel blade for a smooth finish and optimum flex. The spatula is designed with a comfortable, non-slip contoured plastic handle which is easy to grip. Suitable for use with render, plaster and drywall compound. A bracket and extension handle for ceilings is also available separately. The new high-quality stainless steel skimming blades work especially well on spray plastered or rolled plastered surfaces to provide effective surface preparation. Its ergonomic design reduces wrist strain and its lightweight construction enables comfortable all-day usage. Chris, their business sector manager C Construction and Decoration, says G.SB's new range of K-brand skimming blades are smooth operators, providing painters and decorators with cost-effective, easy-to-use tools to deliver perfect surface preparation. Do a traditional first coat and light sand. For the next coat, mix the mud thin and roll on large sections, then hit it with this I want to design a pump that can put the mud on the wall easier than a plunger. Something I can use my batteries in with a handle that can get it where it needs and then use these. Nothing would be faster, easier and lever 5 finished. Thank you, G.SB, for making my life easier, more professional and with a lot of my time on my hands. I want to design a pump that can put the mud on the wall easier than a plunger. Something I can use my Milwaukee batteries in with a handle that can get it where it needs and then use these. Nothing would be faster, easier and lever 5 finished. Thank you, G.SB, for making my life easier, more professional and with a lot of my time on my hands. Extra reach with an optional handle adapter and one of 3 handle options manufactured using premium fiberglass, aluminum or high-impact ABS composite. K-brand line of skimming blade handles are extremely lightweight yet robust and rigid, even when fully extended. I read a few reviews from Amazon.com/ eBay.com/ Alibaba.com which mention end caps arrived broken. I think a lot of manufacturers read those reviews as well because it came with spares. Mine were fine by the way and the tool was nicely packed. I bought K-brand drywall tools, which it is very easy to use even for a person like me who only does drywall on occasions. The grip position and motion felt very natural. I added compound with another knife and used this to level/smooth everything. It also works well once everything dries as a means of seeing how level a surface is. I was working on a wall which had been wallpapered and was not painted, so taking the wallpaper made a mess of some of the drywall paper. Not only was I dealing with a lot of repaired areas, but the people who did the job originally knew they were using wallpaper and did a less than stellar job of finishing the wall. There was an obvious seam running across the entire width of the wall at the 4 to 5 foot point. Using this tool and with a focus on that part of the wall, it looks great. I was shocked that I could make it look as good as it does. One other general tip I figured out and hadn't tried before was I inspected circled areas with a pencil mark with S for sand and F for fill. A wall with compound on a large area makes it difficult to find imperfections, so as you inspect, circle them and mark them. I didn't skim coat the entire wall and I primarily used this on the long seam and near the corners or larger areas. I think had I used it even more I would have used less pencil. This skimming blade is great. Mix ready. Mix with water until it just drops off the mixer and then add some dish soap. Let it set 5 minutes or so and then skim it on with a 10 inches taping knife from your pen and do a quick smooth over with a 26 inches taping knife. Then do a couple swipes with this skimming blade and the wall is smooth and even. Great finish. I'm not sure if this kind of tool was available last time that I did any drywall work, late 2008. I'd consider myself a capable owner, make my own cabinets and doors, railings, column wraps. I had a wall at a rental that was an absolute mess from the supposed professional contractor that had done repairs so bad I knew after I patched it that I'd better skim it back to health. I was prepared for my first time to be something nearing a disastrous learning experience. I was shocked at how quick and easy it was to get this wall looking like new drywall with just a handful of lift-offs to deal with later. No exaggeration, it took about 18 to 22 minutes to thin the compound and skim this wall. I know from the past it would have taken me hours and lots of profanity with wide taping knives. These things are a dream to use. I can only imagine how nice it'd look in a pro's hands. Grip with the blade back or attach one of 3 extendable skimming blade handles, whatever fits your finishing style. Perfect for covering up textured ceilings and walls. It is a quality drywall smoothing tool. It feels good in the hands and well balanced. The product is fantastic and very easy to use. Skimming blades inserts that are easily replaceable. Wide range of toolset configurations are available to suit every situation. The packaging is good, really good price. I am going to buy again. Why choose K-brand drywall skimming blade? K-brand drywall skimming blade is designed with advanced craftsmanship, technology and upgrades so that it's perfect for everyone. Our skimming blade is featuring an ergonomic grip and non-slip lines. You can comfortably use the drywall skimming knife for a long time without fatiguing your hand. And our skimming blade also allows you to have the right amount of control to render plaster and perfectly smooth drywall over joints and other areas. The skimming blade is made of the highest quality extruded aluminum and high-quality stainless steel construction with high-impact end caps, so that our drywall skimming blade is durable enough to withstand the impact of dropping without damage, which is your ideal drywall taping tool to use after scrapper tools. To make the skimming blade smooth to operate, the drywall skimming blade is created with a lightweight design. Grip with the blade back or attach one of 3 extendable skimming blades, whatever fits your finishing style. Professionally made, the drywall skimming blade is convenient and also suits novices. We focus on the simple and effective concept that it is easy for you to operate the skimming blade handle and replace the drywall skimming blade. When you need to replace the drywall skimming blade, just remove one of the caps and the skimming blade insert slides out sideways. Built with stainless steel, the blade of the spatula drywall is heat, corrosion, and rust resistant, enjoying a long service life. Moreover, the resilient drywall skimming blade is flexible enough for precise processing on plaster and drywall. This high-quality skimming blade is ideal for you. Based on years of experience working on site and advice from professionals, we have designed the Tools Drywall Skimming Blade for daily plastering work. This skimming blade reduces your fatigue working. Meanwhile, the drywall skimming knife also provides effective and smooth coating coverage, saving you time and effort. We are devoted to designing professional-grade drywall skimming blades that are guaranteed to exceed your expectations for quality, performance, and reliability. K-brand drywall skimming knife offers outstanding quality, performance, and features. They move mud effortlessly and with high sensitivity, enabling finishers to complete their jobs efficiently with consistent professional results. Our line of drywall skimming blades offer outstanding quality, performance, and features. They move mud effortlessly and with high sensitivity, enabling finishers to complete their jobs efficiently with consistent professional results. What sets K-brand skimming blades apart is their ultra-lightweight design. Drywall compound smoothing is a finesse game, and the skimming blades, extendable handles and handle adapter in this tool line have been specifically developed and refined through years of feedback from professional finisher.